We're the Young Indie Chroniclers podcast, and we're producing a new feature-length documentary, George Lucas, The Lost Golden Age.
George Lucas was going to do this Lawrence of Arabia scale epic on a 16-millimeter budget.
You got a chance to have the same adventure making the show as what Indy was doing.
His stuff is really quite political.
You didn't think I was going to run, did you?
I learned that when George says he wants to ultimately change or fix something, that he was going to do it.
We built a Kickstarter campaign to support the film. Late pledges are available now at Kickstarter.com.
Hello there. Welcome to Force Ghost Conversations. This podcast is your home for cozy deep dives into all things Star Wars and Lucasfilm adjacent properties. This is your host, Anthony King, and each week I will be joined by fans, creators, and believers in the principles from the galaxy far, far away to discuss the thematical elements from our favorite Lucasfilm properties. And without further ado, it is time to gather around the campfire for some Force Ghost Conversations. Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to Force Ghost Conversations, your cozy home for deep dive discussions into all Star Wars and Lucasfilm adjacent properties. And we're going a little off the beaten path here in this episode as we're going to geek out about Spielberg. We are in the Spielberg summer. The summer season is for Spielberg, and we have a new Spielberg film out in theaters right now. May it be the last one? I hope not, but you have to always celebrate these types of things because just in case. It might be for John Williams too, and a lot of other people involved with this production. So Disclosure Day is out now in cinemas. I hope you've seen it. If not, get your butt to the box office, go see it, maybe see it again, because we are here to geek out about this episode. When I say we, I mean we have a guest. We have Dr. Greg Cass from the Long Take Review on the podcast to talk about Spielberg, share some musing, get excited for Disclosure Day. Fully disclosing in Disclosure Day that we have not seen the movie yet by the time of the recording of this episode, but we are releasing this after the fact because I am currently overseas on vacation and wanted to make sure that everyone had a Force Ghost Conversations episode as that is I feel it's my due diligence. I need you guys look forward to this each and every week. And I want to make sure that you have some musings in your ear and some fun conversations about the cozy topics that we love. And this is one of them. And coming out of Mando and Grogu season, it's time to talk some Spielberg, one of our favorite, if not my favorite director on the planet and has ever worked on the property of filmmaking. So Greg and I just go through a lot of our memories. He's tried out some of the sodas at the AMC for Disclosure Day, the popcorn buckets. We talk about it all in this episode, and hopefully you are inspired to maybe go see it again or go see it for the first time. So Disclosure Day is out now. And just make sure, just some housekeeping items before we get to our main topic of the episode here. You can continue the conversation with Force Ghost Conversations on many platforms, including X, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Threads, and Blue Sky. Just search for the podcast by name and you'll find us there. Additionally, if you want to support the show in a monetary sense, we have a Patreon where for as little as $1 a month, you can get access to Force Ghost Conversations related goodies. You can also support the show via our TeePublic store where we have merchandise that is Force Ghost Conversations branded is the way to describe that. T-shirts, hoodies, blankets, pillows, iPhone cases, phone cases of all sorts, onesies for babies. Like it's everything is there, and you can mix and match the colors and all the cool stuff that you have associated with Force Ghost Conversations. Our 3 logos for Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and Willow are all on that platform. So go check it out. The links are for all those things I mentioned are in the episode description, and I hope that you go and support in whatever way that you can. With that, folks, let's get to the main topic discussion here with Greg Cass, talking about Spielberg, just a full geek out in an honor and the love and support of Disclosure Day. Stay tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Forest Ghost Conversations, and it is a special episode here today because not only did we have this summer a revitalization of Star Wars in cinemas, but just a few weeks later, we have a Spielberg film back in theaters, and this is one of those that we should be celebrating again because you never know, this might be it. For both him, John Williams, and a lot of people involved with this production. There's a lot of film history on display here. So go to see it at your local cinemas if you haven't already. But this is a geek out episode for all things Spielberg, and we have a wonderful guest back on the show here today. We might refer to him as our theater correspondent because he's usually there more regularly than I am, I should say, and he's able to report back on things like popcorn buckets and special soda flavors for certain films that may or not be releasing very soon here. So, without further ado, Greg Cass from the Long Take Review, welcome back to Forest Ghost Conversations, and how are you doing?
Oh, well, thank you for having me. I am buzzing. As we speak, I am 12 hours away from my screening of a new Spielberg movie, and not just a Spielberg movie, but a sci-fi blockbuster Spielberg movie.
12 hours away.
It's
so
exciting.
We're recording at 9 a.m., folks listening at home. So he's a late night Spielberg showing.
My wife said I can't guarantee I'm home by 5 in order for me to get up to the theater and get in. So I was like, all right, I don't want to stress it. I don't want to be walking in after the trailers by any means. So I'll just make it 9. But I did see my local theaters are going as early as 2:00 this afternoon.
2:00 is now the deal. Yeah.
Yeah. Those 8 p.m. are now edging earlier and earlier, which
Pretty
I
soon
think of as the midnight screening still. So
exactly. Pretty soon it's just going to be 9 a.m. on Thursday. Is just going to be opening day, and then it's going to be Wednesday night very soon here, as they're just trying to trickle in more viewers as time goes on for trying to get more people into the cinemas. But this is a celebratory occasion, and just before we get into some of the Spielberg hype of it all. You were at the local AMC last night, and this film that we're celebrating here, or this moment in time, I should say, for Disclosure Day, the release of the new Spielberg film, has a collaborative soda thing at AMC theaters for their freestyle machines. Tell us about what you saw, the 5 flavors, and you sampled one of them already. So give us your review on that.
Yes, I was not seeing a Spielberg movie last night. I went and saw Caroline, which was excellent. It's the Dinner in America director, and I kind of thought the special sodas were probably out, and I really try hard as much as I'm there on my Stubbs membership. I've maxed out 4 per week for the last 3 weeks in a row, so that's my credential. And so, I was like, I usually skip the soda, but I had some rewards points. I'm like, I can throw a few bucks and grab a soda. So, yes, at the freestyle machine up in the corner, there's like a little special circle that is the promos. And there's Disclosure Day, and there's also Minions and Monsters already. Nice. But I opened up the Disclosure Day tab and was... then confronted with 6 circles, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know what to do, what to pick here with it." So, the first circle said full disclosure, and then the other 5 were a well-known soda title plus some random kind of spacey words. And I, for whatever reason, at the machine in the moment, I thought full disclosure was like the main drink or what have you.
You would think.
And so I hit that one and filled my cup with this really bizarre purpley gray concoction. And only after comparing notes and with Subchakchai, my co-host Jen Subchakchai, and you and PT over text, did I figure out that I believe full disclosure is just a dealer's choice. And I told the soda machine to give me a random flavor. So I believe what I drank was the Sprite Flight 8, I believe, or something like that.
Sounds about right.
And Jen pointed out, based on the color, she's like, it has to be grape, and it was kind of a grape Sprite. And it was weird. Excuse me, it's the Sprite Line of Sight. Is what it is called.
Okay.
So again, well-known soda name plus Line of Sight. The other 4 are Seagram's Ginger Ale, Not Alone. Seagram's Zero Sugar, Not Alone.
Oh boy, yeah.
Barks Stag Pop, which just to me sounds like a
just
bachelor
root beer.
party
Yeah.
of some kind. Like, I don't know. And then Fanta Cardinal Fizz. I don't know. I will not be sampling Sprite Line of Sight again, but I may go for another one or two and check it out. I guess with the two Seagrams, I don't really need to try the zero sugar and the regular. I can probably just do one.
You never know. It could be
never
better.
know.
It could be
Yeah.
better. Full disclosure should really be just all of them at once.
I was thinking that
it's just
too.
a mix of everything. That's
Yeah.
that's the disappointing one. It shouldn't just be luck of the draw kind of deal. Pick it as you will machine. That should be really the special sauce is all of them at the same time. But you could create a full disclosure technically if you wanted to.
True.
The next time you're there. So do you think you'll be sampling one of the other ones? First off, what'd you think of the soda?
I realized just how big a large soda is, but it was not like disgusting to drink. But and it's actually kind of funny because I am a grape soda fan. My wife is horrified every once in a while that I will fill up a grape soda or a strawberry soda, at a restaurant.
Strawberry. Where are you getting strawberry?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Usually you can rely on Popeyes to have strawberry on the machine.
Sounds
for
like
whatever
such
reason.
it's probably because you're saying you're getting a Popeye, so that sounds like it must be a Southern thing. But this could be one of those like just New England things that you just share with me from time to time.
It could be. I mean, up here the two staple flavors are blueberry and maple. So I don't know how regional strawberry is. Do you have strawberry milk down there? You must, like, quick.
I assume we do. I mean, we have strawberry like season down here. Like it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Usually every March it's like it's in season, and then everyone goes crazy because it's also the same time as spring breaks populating down here. But
Sure.
never heard of a strawberry soda. Interesting.
All right. Next summer in Boston, I'll buy you one. We can do it.
Coming from central Pennsylvania, we had sarsaparilla and birch beer up there. That was the more local delicacies, I guess you might say. But interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so are you going to have another one for Disclosure Day? Are you going Sprite, Seagrams? What you picking?
I mean, I told you I was going to go the green one if I got my pick for the first soda. So I think that's probably the Seagrams, and I do like ginger ale. And I do like root beer as well. So despite needing to drink Stag Power, I think is a supplement Joe Rogan sold me. I might try those two, and a Fanta. I mean, I just said I like all those fruity sodas, so we'll see. I mean, as I just established, I'm at AMC way too often, and so the chance will arise. I also wanted to throw in, and maybe this is the transition, I am now in a deadlocked waiting game because I looked over the customer service counter and they have so many Mando popcorn buckets left that I'm now
You're
like
waiting on the price to come down.
Just bring that down from $55 and I will take them home. But
which one are you aiming for? Are you trying to get the Grogu and Pram? That was $80 aforementioned?
If I got one, I think it would be the helmet because the helmet looks really good, all in chrome. And they still have a lot of the cups and cup toppers too. I ended up getting two of the same the two times I bought a Mando cup, but then I did a trade with Mary Purdue. We mailed each other because she got two of the same as well. So I only have 50-50 shot, although I feel like if I just kind of wink and nod at the customer service guys, they'll be like, yeah, who cares? We're going to throw this all in a dumpster next week, so you can have what you want.
Speaking of the popcorn bucket thing, I feel like the Disney parks here locally, and I assume California too, really, in my opinion, close the door on all popcorn bucket. I think they made the best one ever, which when my most recent trip to Galaxy's Edge, unfortunately, they didn't have the Indy Raiders 45 hat.
Oh yeah.
Trying to get, but I did see that they have a popcorn bucket that is the 3PO head from Attack of the Clones when he gets his head pulled off. I'm like, that's brilliant. That's case closed. We don't need any more of these. But it seems like they're going to keep making more of these for every subsequent release that's coming out in the near future. And you saw some for Disclosure Day. Are you picking up any of those, or are you just going to go, nah, it's nice to look at, but we'll walk away from this one?
So my level of popcorn bucket, other than Mandalorian on clearance, is if I really, really love a movie, I will get like the kind of metalish one that like a tin that is mostly just the movie poster. I don't really go in for the crazy, crazy ones. Because I mean, I love it. It's a good trend. All respect to people who love these, but then like, what do you do with them? Like, I don't have the space for 20 popcorn buckets each year. So there are two that I've seen for Disclosure Day. One is closer to that. It's kind of like a square design with transparent sides. I don't think it's a magic trick or anything. The Now You See Me 3, they had a magic trick one that made the bucket look empty, and then it was filled with popcorn still, and it'd be kind of fun if they did something like that. But the other one is absolutely ridiculous, which is like a full deer with a cardinal in the antlers, which I assume we'll understand by later tonight.
Ask us in 12 hours. Yeah.
Yeah. And you open up a hatch in the deer's butt, even if like it's wearing those pajamas, like the old timey Western pajamas, long johns, and fill it with popcorn. Don't see myself coming home with that, even if I love Disclosure Day. If I really, really love it, I might bend my rules and grab that other one. I will also throw in, though, part of why I'm not itching for a popcorn bucket is AMC's doing a bunch of freebies for screenings and such, which to me shows that they really think this has potential to be a blockbuster. Because to me, those usually come out when they want to pull you to their theater versus others. It's like they're not trying to convince you to come; they're trying to get you to choose AMC.
Don't go to the Regal, go to a Cinemark kind of deal.
Exactly. Yeah. So I know if you see it in Dolby, there's a set of 4 pins that you can collect. So I believe I'm getting one of those tonight. And then for the special IMAX Friday night screenings, they are promising a light-activated secret poster, which I believe looks blank, and then you put it in sunshine and it fills in, and
Beautiful.
You see the design. So my son and I are going to that tomorrow night. So I'm definitely going to steal his and have 2 of them, right? One to put away and one to hang up.
So you're going at least twice. How many times are you trying to see the Disclosure Day as you're able to? Also knowing that I bet you have some stubs that you have locked up for the rest of the summer. Looking at you, Odyssey, as Greg was trying to get one of those early screenings.
Yes, yeah, I do. I've been at my full 4 reservations with my 2 Disclosure Day screenings and the Odyssey. Plus, when I want to go to a movie, you have to leave that 4th one free and just cycle through. So I'm kind of playing wait and see. If my wife is suddenly home at like 3:00 today, I might be like, "See ya, honey. I'm going at 6 and
going earlier
than 2 tonight." But my main plan are these 2, and then if I really like the movie, I will probably try to. It's playing in 70 millimeter a couple places here in town, so I'll probably try to grab one of those. And then after that, I have a couple of friends in town, one of whom canceled on you and created my opportunity to be on the show. And he is famous for letting me go see the movie. And then if I say it's okay, he'll then be like, well, do you want to go? And so I'm kind of saving a little wiggle room if those buddies want to go next week or the week after. But my other excitement this weekend is I'm finally getting to go to the Dome IMAX screen at our Science Museum to see Mando and Grogu. It's been playing for a month, and I've been busy it's only playing Friday and Saturday nights, and so I've been busy those nights, but I'm going to sneak out tomorrow night to see that. Or
wait, so the Dome IMAX screen, correct me if I'm getting my Boston mixed up here. Is that the Holdovers Theater?
No, it is not. So
they're all science museums.
Yeah. So this is purely at the Science Museum has the Muger Omni Theater, which is very famous in town here. Maybe I said this to you recently. I recently said this on a podcast, so apologize if it was this one. But the Science Museum used to have an introduction that was recorded by Leonard Nimoy, who grew up right nearby. And the introduction, I wish they still played it because it was him introducing the theater and why the Science Theater had an IMAX theater. And then he just started reciting, not even singing, who put the bop in the bop, shabop, shabop, which like hearing Leonard Nimoy say in kind of his sweet, low tones was really great. So I haven't been in a while, so maybe they'll surprise me and it'll be back, but they had ditched that at some point, which is a shame.
That is a shame indeed. That's historic preservation right there.
right? At a certain point, you can't be like, oh, you should be picketing outside every day until they bring it back.
That's true. I actually have never even checked like YouTube to see if I bet somebody has it recorded and has uploaded it at some point.
It's a museum. They have it they have an archive. So it's somewhere there. They can pull it out of storage if they need to and celebrate the passing. We're beyond 10 years now of Leonard Nimoy's passing. So they should keep it going, keep his memory alive. What a great, if you're seeing Disclosure Day there, that would be the perfect transition, is seeing Spock going straight into the space wacky adventure thing that who knows what really this is about. Because I feel like the marketing is done so well of hiding things. Like we know it's about the people finding out that there are extraterrestrials and what that would do to a nation or a country, globe, frankly, even. But what are the hidden details of this movie? What are the inner machinations that are going to happen? What's going to, like, the clicking? Where does it all connect? We're going to find out pretty soon here. And I'm curious because you're taking your son, and this is his first Spielberg in a theater, correct? And it might be his last in a theater, arguably, too, unfortunately. So, how did you prep him coming into this? Has he been watching other Spielberg films? How do you get someone ready to see arguably the greatest director of all time perform at their craft?
Yeah. So my son and I, 2 summers ago, I think at this point, we went all the way through Indiana Jones. I kind of told him, like, these are the most important movies to me. Like, he'd seen Star Wars many times and kind of, Star Wars is just in the air around my house. But Indiana Jones, I tried to make an occasion of. I similarly tried to do that with Back to the Future, and then my mother-in-law showed my son Back to the Future, which I have still not forgiven her for. So I certainly, Spielberg is always in the air, and I have tried this year to really rewatch most of his filmography. I filled in the ones I'd never seen, which included a couple blockbusters, but then also a lot of his early TV style movies and so on, and TV episodes. And so my son kind of caught bits and pieces of those along the way. But I've tried really hard to express to him that, like, this is a director who means a lot to me. And I think, you would be shocked how good and how different his movies are. And, he's in a kind of funny stage. So he's about to turn 11 this month, and it's not cool to do what mom and dad like anymore. But our negotiation, so he has a late bedtime on the weekends, which has been a bummer because it means he's just around when we would normally throw on a movie or an adult show of some kind. And I don't mean like racy in any way, just things the kid shouldn't see or wouldn't be interested in.
You're not putting on Curb Your Enthusiasm with them walking around.
Well, the funny one is I love the show Hacks, and my wife had never seen it. So we started a Hacks watch, and we got through the first 2 seasons. And I know when the 3rd season starts, there's an episode with some nudity coming up, and I'm like, I don't want to put this on if he's in the room.
So I have the conversation tonight.
yeah. So the kind of deal we strike with him is we put on a movie we want to watch. He gives it a half hour. If he hates it, he can go watch something on his iPad. And he really doesn't believe that any of these are going to be good. But the 2 that caught him most easily were Catch Me If You Can and then The Terminal, which I love both of those Spielberg movies, but especially The Terminal is kind of derided by a lot of people. I think a lot of people wrote it off before it came out. They're like, that sounds dumb. And so they never saw it. But I've always loved The Terminal, and it really did capture his attention because it's such a kind of funny particular set of problems. But there's a lot of good kind of kid accessible humor in it, right? Like when he's collecting the carts to get the quarters to buy a cheeseburger, and the custodian makes the floor extra slippery so people fall. Like he got into those bits, and then continued to watch till the end because he wanted to see what happened to him and how it worked out.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then I don't know why. He told me he had seen me watch E.T. and he was absolutely not interested in ever watching E.T. And I looked at my letterbox and I was like, okay, I haven't watched E.T. since I've had Letterboxd, which means it's been at least since 2020, which means there's no way you remember me watching E.T. And I don't know what he confused with E.T. or the one thing I could think of is I know you just rewatched that Spielberg documentary and maybe he saw E.T. within that and didn't like it, but he wouldn't do it. And then the other day I'd been trying and I was like, you know what? That's fine. I'll put it on while I jog and do it. And it actually beautifully captured both children. The 11-year-old and the 6-year-old came wandering in. And I should have thought to show it to the 6-year-old, despite it being a little scary. But, she probably missed the first 15, 20 minutes and then came in when really Drew Barrymore's very
you might say the scarier parts, right? When E.T.
that's true.
Roaming
that's
around.
True.
So like they were hooked in with the good stuff.
Yeah. And when they're doing silly stuff around the house and there's a little girl on screen, so she was totally engaged by it. And I'm sure that's around the age I saw it originally. So we had a great viewing of that. My son and I also went to the theater and saw Jurassic Park, which was incredible on the big screen. And one jump scare really just made him completely fall out of his chair, which he was immediately kind of grumpy and embarrassed about. But I just turned to him and was like, "Oh, that one got you, buddy. Like, that's why we do this. That's why we're here." And I think kind of diffused the embarrassment so that he understood, like, yeah, that's why we go to the theater and see these things. Like, they don't make you jump like that at home. So it was great.
Not the same. Now we have the big screen and the good sound system, and you feel connected, and you're with a group of people, and you're all engaging with the same art at the same time. It's a magical experience. That Spielberg is really the best at the craft so far of our lifetimes, at least. Maybe who knows what's beyond. But I'm glad that E.T. stuck because it just showcases that no one doesn't like that film. Like, there's not a soul that can't hate that movie.
I mean, it shows that my co-host over on Rebel Base Card, Greg McLaughlin, needs to watch E.T.
Yes.
I know you're listening, Greg. Go watch E.T. One of our listeners heard him say on a podcast that he had never seen E.T. and mailed him a DVD. Like, you need to do that. I don't think it was you, but it was somebody.
It wasn't me.
And so I know he has it, and he's just sitting on it for a good night, but I hope he watches it soon.
Man, if he's got the DVD, he's got the special edition, which is equally more interesting if that's his first watch of the movie, to know that he has a historic relic in his hand that arguably might be worth more in value than the Blu-ray or the 4K that comes out now.
Yeah, could be.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, that's my greatest claim to fame is like my wife was adamant, I hate E.T. It's the worst movie ever. I will never watch it. Only to find out that it's tied to that's what her grandmother put on as her parents were in the hospital giving birth to her brother, and then brought him home the same day. So it's like that's tied to the change of life, and I don't have control here over what's happening.
That's interesting.
And I'm like, I think if you watched it again with fresh eyes, you might have a change of pace here. So she was like, I will never watch it, and then I just put it on because I'm like, I'm going to watch E.T. I just put it on. Yeah. I'm watching it. She's sitting beside me. And then slowly but surely, she starts looking up from her book. And more and more, she keeps putting the book down and enjoying pieces of it. And now it's like arguably one of her favorite movies of all time. And we love the soundtrack. And we love the E.T. Adventure Ride, too, which is so important to the theme park industry as well. It's just a...
Oh, sorry. I had forgotten that the opening they show inside E.T.'s ship, and it took me right to that queue at Universal Studios where you see the little gardens and stuff inside the ship. I was like, oh, I forgot this was in here. And so it wasn't so unfounded when they then put it in the ride queue. And the ride actually has some of that too when you travel to his home planet.
Absolutely. It's all there. It's technically a sequel of sorts to E.T. There's a book that came out that I think Spielberg may have had a hand in, but it's basically the story of the ride before the ride came out. So I guess in the 80s, as they did with mass market paperbacks, they just made a whole bunch of stuff. So they made an E.T. sequel in book form. So I may track it down. I may force you to track it down so that we do an episode on it one day.
I'd rather do that than Cruel Jaws novelization. So I'd be game for that.
You know that's coming too. You know that's coming. We just can't let that thread sitting out there. It might be better than the movie. It arguably could be. How could it not? It will connect all the pieces. We'll know how Hulk Hogan is is related to
I
everybody.
mean-
We'll know who lives and dies. Like, we'll figure all this out. All the loose threads of Cruel Jaws will be finalized in such a wonderful way.
Yeah.
But for Disclosure Day, now by the time this comes out, we'll have already seen it. But I think one of the things that I'm most excited about is seeing a Spielberg directed Josh O'Connor in this, because we've seen so many great performances of him over the years, from The Crown, Challengers, most recently being the Benoit Blanc sequel, Wake Up Dead Men. And now Spielberg, like, he's like an Adam Driver of sorts, just collecting these like auteur directors that he wanted to work with. And I can't be more excited for that, because I think he's one of the top names in the acting industry these days. How are you feeling about walking into some more Josh O'Connor tonight?
I mean, I completely agree with what you just said. So last year on Long Take Review, we do a hype draft where we each go in rounds and pick out what movies we're most excited for, and you try to pick the ones nobody else is picking. And last year, I ended up drafting 3 Josh O'Connor movies out of 4 potential picks, not knowing there was actually a 4th Josh O'Connor movie. It just didn't really get its release information out until later. But I thought he had an incredible year last year with Kelly Reichardt's The Mastermind, which was excellent, and with Wake Up Dead Man was one of my absolute favorite movies last year. And so all of that makes me really excited to see what Spielberg does with him. And for a lot of these guys, men or women, there are these moments when they're on their way up where, like, the big role has been shot and is in the can, but then they do 2 or 3 more movies before they really become a household name, or before the movie releases. And so I think Rian Johnson said at the time of Wake Up Dead Man, like, he didn't see Challengers till after Josh O'Connor was cast, and then was like, knocked out, and that was a favorite of his as well. So, yeah, so I'm really excited, and I will throw the question back to you by noting I also think Emily Blunt is great, and I think sometimes the people around her send her to bad parts, but she often elevates the role she has, and so we already saw her this summer with Devil Wears Prada 2, where I think of those returning cast members, the script had the hardest job trying to fit her in.
How does she fit
character in? But, like, she still killed it, and I loved her in the Quiet Place movies, which I think this feels a little closer to. And of course, the all-timer of what do you call it? Live, Die, Repeat, or
Edge of Tomorrow,
Edge of Tomorrow, or All You Need Is Kill, which I think is the book it was based on. But yeah, she's incredible in that, and so I think seeing her do a little action will be great. How do you feel about Emily Blunt?
Well, I think she's a phenomenal actress. She's very tiny, I will say. That's my big takeaway after seeing the outfits for Disclosure Day at the Spielberg exhibit that they have over at Universal Studios right now. I'm like, oh, that tracks, because anytime you see just generally outfits on display with people, you're like, oh, that's usually my biggest takeaway is on the big screen you look so like normal sized, and then in real life you're like a twig. They also have the costumes for the Wicked franchise there as well. And since both Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande are just like barely got rib cages and bone structures. You're just like, wow, there's nothing to them. They could fly away with a wind gust. So that was my first takeaway. But then, you forgot to mention there in a recent run is Oppenheimer, which I would say is like, for all of Christopher Nolan's wonderful work that he's done in his career, you might say female characters are not his forte. And I think Kitty might be the best example of a Nolan directed film with a compelling lead, a female character to some degree that challenges the male character and supports him and drives the story forward in many ways. Right. I think she's a very much big part of the linchpin of that movie and the story it's trying to tell. So kudos to her. And again, she's like the biggest Jaws fan on the planet too. So like her working with Spielberg she probably took like no money for it. She was like, please, I will pay money to be on this property probably. Just to like, I bet she was just asking him Jaws questions the entire time in between takes. So like, oh, you want to do another one? Well, how did you film the sequence on the Orca with? Got him off track.
It was funny. it was funny in the Jaws 50th documentary because I was like, why is Emily Blunt here? Like, and I think, you know, if she had been announced, I had not clocked that she was in the next Spielberg movie, but it was really great. I can't remember if I saw this on your social media, but there was a great moment last week or the week before where there was a press event and Emily Blunt, Josh O'Connor, and Coleman Domingo all came in vintage Spielberg t-shirts, having not coordinated. They just wanted to celebrate, and I had not remembered until it came up on our long take draft that you got guessed on that Coleman Domingo is in Lincoln, and so this is a return to working together. So, yeah.
I bet Spielberg even forgot that. Well, how can I say that? He doesn't forget anything. If I feel like his mind is as sharp as ever. He's just a constant library of film history and just world history is just stuck up in that man's head. So I bet he was like, "Yep," keeping tabs on Coleman throughout the career that he's had. And like, man, you and I both sing the praises of Sing Sing.
Yeah,
honestly, probably should have gotten more award recognition than.
Agreed.
I don't think did he even get nominated for Best Actor? I don't recall at this point. I feel like that was the biggest snub of the of that
I think
season.
It missed Best Picture too, which
it missed Best Picture, yeah, because they were like, we'll give it to Nickel Boys instead. Like, we only have one black-led film.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. I mean, we love the Oscars, but we also hate the Oscars. Yes, well, and I will say, so listeners, if you're interested in more Anthony and Greg talking Spielberg, we did a very long Spielberg draft over on Long Take. We recorded about 3 hours the other night. I think I ended up going to bed at about 1, and then when I got up at 5:30 and started putting my kids' stuff together, I threw in a podcast, which was the next one up in my queue was Amy Poehler's show with Coleman Domingo. And, you know,
did you even go to sleep? That feels like a dream. You just were.
Yeah. Well, and even more so, I turned on, I'm like, oh, I want to hear Coleman Domingo. This will be great. And Amy Poehler showed that she does a bit where she talks well behind someone's back. And so she calls a friend of the guest for the first like 10 minutes of the show and gets the friend to suggest a question. And she's like, oh, who are you going to call for Coleman Domingo? How about Steven Spielberg? And so all of a sudden Spielberg is in my AirPods, you know, like it is a dream, like you noted. And he shared that there was a project he planned on casting Coleman Domingo in as the lead, and then the project just didn't quite come together for other reasons. So you're absolutely right. So he was watching Coleman's career on through. I think he gave him the Lincoln role as kind of a sorry about that, and then
maybe very, very minimal role in Lincoln. So if that was the if that was the sorry about that, then well. A part of me is like, what did Spielberg work on that I know of? And I'm like, it was in D5. Maybe Coleman was a part of it.
He says it. It was a biopic of a brother, like singing composer duo, and I can't remember the name of the brothers. I had not heard of them previously, but it sounded like he was almost there to do his musical, and he said, no, it's not for me. It almost sounded like the lesson from Color Purple too, where it was like, you know, this is a story that should be told, but maybe I'm not the right guy to tell it, and so.
Yeah, indeed. He's learned his lessons over the years. And he's very much been open about his failures, aside from Always. He'll at least acknowledge 1941 and Hook as being like disappointments of his life, and he'll note Temple of Doom too being probably among that list of like the films he doesn't revisit too often. And then just Always is just never. I don't bring it up. You have to imagine, because no one brings it up, that it must be in like when they have the press tour, they're like, do not talk about this, do not talk about this, do not. I bet you Always it has to be on that list somewhere, because why does no one talk about it in the 35 plus years since it's been out?
Yeah. Well, and I do feel like as he's gotten older, he will go back and talk much more about Duel and Sugarland Express, which are early, but the craft is all there from the get-go, which is part of what makes revisiting his home filmography special and fun, and so it is funny that Always gets left out of that mix. And I said on our draft, I believe I ended up watching it not knowing it was about wildfires right as there was the awful tragedies in California. I'm like, oh, it's going to look bad that I'm logging this on Letterboxd right now. But it's when I just happened to put it in.
The Letterboxd haters that are looking on the always train will come down on you really hard.
That's a real special Letterboxd hater. Yeah,
it is a special niche group of fans that follow Spielberg around to be like, "Where's the always talk? I need more always discussion. When's the always sequel coming out?" And yeah. Well, folks, that is, we're just geeking out here about Spielberg, so we got to get ready ourselves for checking out this movie. So hopefully by this time you've already seen it too, or maybe we've inspired you to go check it out yourselves, because I imagine, just based off of early reviews and hype that I've seen online, that this is a very much beloved in the line of Spielberg's blockbuster hits film. So a return to form, one might say, if that's the kind of Spielberg that you're into, because there's multiple phases of this man's career, with probably a little dab of that seriousness from later Spielberg in there as well. Greg, where can the folks find you if they want to continue the conversation or see where you're going at the AMC a couple times a week?
I mean, I already blew my maiden plug, which is, please, if you love this show, you by now know that Anthony is a dear friend of the podcast Long Take Review, where I co-host movies. So that epic 3-hour, we'll know the runtime once Jen edits it. The Spielberg draft was a really special episode for me because I don't often shove Jen out of the way and prep the episode myself and say I'll come up with the game. But I invented the game where we drafted a Spielberg movie Spielberg project or collaborator across 6 categories. Yeah. And we took turns, and Anthony was our guest. And I won't spoil anything about it, but it ended up inspiring a lot of really good discussion. And what was really fun is that Jen and I are the same age, but Anthony's a lot younger and PT's enough older that we all had kind of different eras of Spielberg we really loved. So it was fun.
And it's funny how it plays out that way, because even with the age difference, I have a vastly different Spielberg just journey than all of you.
Yes.
So
yes.
Be sure to include that in there. And speaking of which, your boy's the same age, so or at least I was when I became fully Spielberg. So throw away all of your rules about what he's allowed to and what he can't watch, and just give him a subtle DVD of Munich and see what he does for a year if he keeps watching it as week in and week out.
That might be a bridge too far, but we'll go it. Well,
start him with Bridge of Spies then and see where he goes.
I don't think my wife has seen Bridge of Spies, and she's a huge Hanks fan, so that's got to be there. And I've been saving Fabelmans for her to watch because she never caught that one too. So yeah.
She should have done the Spielberg journey too. Come on.
I know. I mean, I can only get so many movie nights with the full family, but I think I'm at 19 for the year, and I'm saving. I'm hoping to get the rest of them done, even though we're getting it done before the movie didn't happen, but we'll be there. So, but thanks for having me on. I think that we will have more to talk about once we get to see this
I think so.
film, and I really enjoyed. The other plug I'll give is I loved coming on here and talking about Mandalorian and Grogu, like with our fresh reactions, and I received a lot of compliments about that, which I don't think I've told you in person. So
I have not heard this. No, thank you for sharing.
A lot of people followed me to 3 different shows to talk about Mando and Grogu, and liked all 3 of them. So I was like, all right, like if you need 3 times the runtime of Mandalorian and Grogu of me talking about it, then I appreciate it. And people can find me mostly on Letterboxd these days at EyeOnCanon, EyeOnCanon. I also just wrote a blog on EyeOnCanon.com for the first time in a while. I put some of my Star Wars fandom thoughts down as I kind of mulled things over. So that's enough plugs, especially if I'm about to just pop up on this episode again. So.
Fair enough. And I will send it back to you too. Mrs. Force Coast Conversation said that was our best episode. The Mando and Grogu. She was like, you hit the tone of the movie correctly. It was fun. It flowed. It was longer than the movie itself. And she's like, keep doing that. So kudos to all of us. Round of applause, everybody. Cue the sound.
Yeah.
And thank you all for listening to the Spielberg Geek Out episode. Go check out Disclosure Day in theaters now if you haven't already, or go see it a second or a third time or a fourth time. However many times you need to see it in order to enjoy it, go see it. And we'll be back next week. Who knows what we'll be talking about? Wink, wink. Maybe about Disclosure Day, maybe something else. Who knows? You'll have to check in and see where we're at. Until then, may the Force be with you. Take care.